Am I the idiot for cheating on my boyfriend? I, 15F, cheated on my then BF, 15M. I know we are young, but I've been getting hate for this and have been getting major criticism. I personally don't think I'm the a-hole, but that's why I'm here. Basically, I dated this guy a total of 3 times over the span of a year or so. He cheated on me a total of 3 times, and I went back every single time. I didn't cheat because he cheated though, which is what a lot of people think. It started with me going over to his house like I did almost every day. In the start of the relationship, I talked heavily about consent and what I thought was appropriate for our age. He decided to completely ignore this. It was the beginning of freshman year when all the kids around me were smoking and getting high at school, which I have never done. Yet while I was at his house, he begged and begged for me to hit his cart and see what it was like. As it was my first time, I didn't know how much to hit it and ended up hitting it about 10 times. I was high out of my mind, which is when he completely ignored my boundaries and ended up pinning me on his bed and raping me. This was an extremely traumatic experience, and he was extremely manipulative and told me that I went on to him. Even though I was high, I know this isn't true, BC, I'm not that type of person, and still remembered my actions. After he raped me, he proceeded to shove his thing into my mouth while I was trying my best to push him away, but I couldn't. He is about 5 feet 11 inches and maybe 200 pounds, while I am 5 feet 3 inches and closer to 95 pounds. I stayed with him because I fell into his trap of manipulation and ended up believing him. Closer to the end of our relationship, he confessed to me that he lost feelings after I had a pregnancy scare from the earlier stated incident. I asked him to stay with me until he knew for sure, but not BC. I loved him, but BC, I wanted to get back at him. I knew this guy for about 3 years, let's call him a C. Me and C always had a flirty relationship before I was forced to block him due to the BF stated before. I ended up unblocking him and met up with him, and me and C went on a genuinely fun date at the movies, and I had a great time. It made me think about how all I wanted was genuine love from my former BF. C is about 6 feet 2 inches, and when I told him about what happened with my former BF, he flipped out. Mind you, at this time me and former BF were still together. C ended up beating his ass. To make a long story short, when people found out about this, I was told, no matter what happens in a relationship, you should never cheat, but I honestly think I had the right. So read it, am I the a-hole for cheating on my BF? Comment 1. Cheating is an move, independent of the reason. Leaving before you cheat is the right way to end a relationship. Once a cheater, always a cheater is a saying you'll always be included in. Revenge cheating is still cheating. So for the rest of your life, you can never honestly answer no to the relationship building question. Have you ever cheated on a partner? Comment 2. Han, this should involve your parents and probably the police. Your rape is the issue here, not your cheating. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for X? Best friend says I caused her BF to cheat. I, 24F, have been friends with Bianca, 25F, since middle school. Obviously over time as we grew up we started to separate due to outgrowing interests and new ones forming, but we still hung out and talked a lot. She left to college in another state, I stayed in our hometown. Again, we still talked either on the phone or texting each other. This is where the problem starts though. Ever since she moved to Texas, she has had many boyfriends. I have no issue with her dating, that is her business, not mine. It started to bug me when she would come to me about her issues with these guys. They always cheated or dumped her, but it was always a breakup constantly, then getting back together. I have voiced my opinion about these guys not being good for her because she has a bachelor's degree, own apartment, car, 2 jobs, but the guys she dates barely have a job or have trouble keeping a job. When I tell her I believe these guys aren't right for you, she will get defensive, telling me, you don't know what it's like being in love. I just leave it at that, won't argue with her because I don't want to argue with her, her life at the end of the day. I have never met any of her boyfriends. We ended up going no contact last year because she got back with her ex, whom started working in a strip club, and she saw nothing wrong with it. He ended up cheating before causing the first time breakup. She told me he believes I am an obstacle and we couldn't talk anymore. It hurt me a lot because she actually believed him. She actually cut me off and listened to that guy. She has recently reached out to me, 3 days ago, to tell me she is engaged, I told her congratulations and wish her nothing but the best. She then tells me we won't be friends anymore. I tell her that is fine, I respect her decision. She adds in the reason why, being that I caused her ex, strip club working guy, by putting that idea of cheating in his head. I was like, WTF. When? I have never talked to personally, never even met him, how did I do that shit? She told me he heard me when we were talking, she had me on speakerphone, when I told her, he might cheat again. So apparently me saying that, made him cheat on her again. I told her bullshit, he cheated because he wanted to. I got upset cause why are we evening talking about the ex, you're newly engaged. It doesn't matter anymore. She called me the C word and hung up. I am open to the outside perspective, if I'm wrong or if I was right. I just need another opinion. Thank you. Best to you OP, NTA. Comment 1. NTA. Honestly, a friend with that kind of mindset is no good for you. Apart from that, her stripper ex-boyfriend is clearly making things up to mess with her life, attempting to save his own skin. If your friend really doesn't see what's wrong here, she should really consider her self-worth if she keeps putting up with people like that. I'm not sure why you would let your friend treat you that way, just cut her off entirely. You tried your best giving her your advice, if she chooses to not listen, let her be. Comment 2. NTA. It's easier to blame someone else instead of admitting you have horrible decision-making when it comes to picking partners. Seems you look like the perfect person to blame all her life's choices on. That's her opinion and is just as shit as her choice in guys. Don't believe a single word she says now or later when she is snot and tears when she finds out this new guy/fiancé/husband has cheated on her as well. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for telling my best friend's boyfriend that she's cheating? Let's call my best friend Lucy. So here's a little context about us. Me and my best friend have been besties for 4 years. Our boyfriends are besties since childhood and I'm in a serious relationship with my boyfriend for past 6 months. Lucy recently moved to a different state. Hence, her and Jake, her boyfriend, have been doing long distance. Jake is totally head over heels for her. Mind you, she was in a serious relationship which lasted for 2 years before meeting Jake, and the guy was constantly cheating. So here's the thing, she called me once and told me not to be mad at her because she kissed some other dude called Sean, and her reason that she was only having fun. I was mad and told her that if she did anything like that again, I'll tell Jake. Not because I want my bestie's relationship ruined, but because she can't do what her ex did to her. After some time, Sean, the guy who she only kissed, texts me and asks me about me and Lucy's relationship. What I get to know from his is that after they kissed, they met again and did the nasty in the playground during midnight, and he doesn't know she has a boyfriend yet. I don't tell him anything about her relationship and directly call Lucy. She practically bursts on me for accepting his message request. Now here's the thing, my boyfriend, who we'll call Lucas, has my account, and he read all of the messages. I didn't tell Sean to text me on my private because I wanted Lucas to know. Lucas calls me and asks me all about it. He tells me he has seen the messages, so there is no reason hiding that, so I tell him. He practically begs me to tell Jake about it. I was gonna tell him anyway. So, the next day I call Jake and tell him everything, because he deserves to know, and my best friend was always thankful to the people that told her that her ex was cheating. So practically, I was picturing her in Jake's place. Jake also texted Sean to know if it was true, and obviously it was. Now my best friend and other people from our friend group have totally cut me off for breaking the girl code and not telling her that I was gonna tell Sean about it. So am I wrong? Or as they say. Comment 1. There's no such thing as bro code or girl code. There is, on the other hand, a difference between being an honest human being or not. If you find out overnight that you fall in love with someone else other than your partner, or just had intimate relational because you're bored, the right thing to do is to be honest and break up. If you do it before pursuing your next target, that's the best way. Anyway, you're NTA, but also you did nothing wrong. Everyone already knew the truth except for the innocent parties, the 2 men your friend was lying to. Assuming responsibility for your actions is part of growing up. Your friend should know that. And I would lose her number and the numbers of the other people from our friend group if they ever contact you again, ignore them. Comment 2. I agree. Girl code can have a fair amount of gray areas. Maybe the friend group thought you'd lie for your bestie. I think that's what would be expected of girl code in this instance, though I personally disagree. I wouldn't lie for a cheater. I'm also assuming that all the people who cut you off are female. I'm going go with NTA cause it was good of them to find out sooner rather than later, especially if all his good friends knew but no one said anything, but in my opinion it shouldn't have been you that told him. Maybe should have found some way to convince her to come clean? Though the outcome of people cutting you off could possibly be the same if she said it was your idea.